In our generation, the Lubavitcher Rebbe stated that the service of clarifications has ended. In our context, this means that the first level, consciously clarifying reality by the righteous, has ended. Our current task is to involve ourselves more with the service of unifications, as explained above in Parshas Toldos, associated with the imminent arrival of Mashiach. We should not make an issue of consciously refining reality. It is still good to have in mind that we eat to receive energy to serve God with joy, which elevates and refines the food. We should aspire to observe the verse, know him in all your ways. However, in general, our consciousness should be directed toward a different goal altogether, the goal of bringing the final redemption by uniting the mundane world in which we live with the divine world. The second type of clarification mentioned above also plays a less significant role. We no longer need to travel to the ends of the world to recite a blessing. The world has become one big global village, and everything is readily available wherever we happen to be. The most difficult clarifications achieved by first falling into sin have not yet ended. The divine terrible plot or in this case it means awesome plot, like wondrous, terrible plot, continues until we reach the happy end. May it come soon. Extricating the spark. How can we incorporate these teachings into trauma therapy? The knowledge that even the most terrible fall has a purpose is first aid for the tortured soul that has undergone such a trauma. Knowing that whatever happens is divinely ordained elucidates the event and offers some comfort. Every tragic episode is just one piece of the great puzzle put together in heaven. The Arizal would tell people their exact rectification in this world according to their soul root. Divine knowledge such as that is beyond our scope. The Baal Shem Tov guided us with the principle of simple faith, the knowledge that whatever happens to me is for the best and for my own personal benefit can sometimes alleviate the pain. For this healing power to penetrate our souls and not just serve as a topical painkiller, we need to understand Shechem's father, Hamor, whose name means donkey. The inner dimension of the Torah reveals that this donkey is more significant than is apparent at first glance. At the beginning of the Parsha, Jacob said, I have oxen and donkeys. The sages teach us that Jacob's oxen refer to Mashiach, the son of Yosef. His donkeys refer to Mashiach, the son of David. Jacob's cattle were holy oxen, and his donkeys were as well. In contrast, there are oxen and donkeys of the impure husks. Chassidut explains that an ox represents heat and explosive power. Think how wary one needs to be of standing in the path of a seething ox, whereas a donkey expresses coldness. The Talmud states that a donkey is always cold, even at the height of summer. Like a stubborn donkey that cannot be shaken from its routine way of life, the donkey-like character of the impure husks manifests as apathy and cold indifference to everything that happens, even when it is truly evil. This was the case with Hamor. He callously ignored Dinah's rape by his son. Moreover, he expected Jacob to acquiesce to her becoming Shechem's wife. In contrast, the holy donkey reflects positive stoicism, like a disciplined donkey that carries its yoke without complaint. This trait allows us to bear everything that God confers upon us with equanimity and in awe of God. In our context, positive indifference means accepting all that happens to me by submitting to God's will without becoming overwhelmed by the raving emotions that threaten to engulf me. By looking at everything from a cool, rational perspective that allows me to detach myself from the upsetting event itself, I can learn to look at it from a more elevated perspective. Obviously, victims of assault will find it exceedingly difficult to relate with indifference to what has happened. They require a righteous individual, a truly virtuous therapist, who will assist in extricating them from the catastrophe and begin the healing process. That righteous individual also needs to be somewhat donkey-like in his ability to show indifference towards what happened. Should he allow his sympathy to engulf him, he too would be overwhelmed by the crisis and would be ineffective in assisting the victim. Under these circumstances, the ability to view calamity in a cool, calm, and collected fashion is the manifestation of the therapist's true compassion, which will eventually bring comfort to the aching heart that weeps before them. Mashiach ben David is a pauper riding on a donkey. Is a poor person riding on a donkey. He will complete this rectification, bringing healing and comfort to every tortured soul, and bequeathing them with the true and comforting sense that all their downfalls were for the absolute best. No evil descends from above.